Hello everyone. In the previous class, we have seen synthesis of lipids. We have seen how oils and fats and lipids could be utilized for various functional systems. In this particular session, we will be looking for the continuation of the lipid systems where we want to understand how some of the lipids could be categorized under the steroidal system. So one important system is lipids is the class in which steroids can be classified. And when I say steroids can be classified, one major class of lipids is steroidal system. If we want to understand about the systems like lipids, we could categorize them based on their structures called as glyceraldehyde system, where glyceraldehyde long chain system could be utilized so that we could get oils, fats and lipids system. But steroids, they are a part of lipid system, but they do not have this long chain systems where we want to understand about lipid type of systems. But steroids have got a system where we can understand that there may be a presence of different classes where they are classified under ring systems. Now, what are steroids? These have structures totally different from other classes of lipids. As we already discussed that lipids will have a long chain system and they are can be formed from a glycerol type of system. The main feature of steroids is the ring system of the three cyclohexanes and one cyclopentane in a fused ring system, as we can see here. Now, can we not observe here that there are three ring structures, 1 2 3, that is ring A, ring B and ring C and ring D. Ring A, B, C are observed as a cyclohexane system, whereas ring D is observed as a cyclopentane system. Now that is what steroid basic skeleton can be categorized into. Now, when I say steroid basic skeleton can be categorized, now these do not look like a lipid structure. Now, lipid structure is something where long chain system was present, but here in steroidal system, we can say that a system where there are cyclohexane system and a cyclopentane system, and they can be categorized under a steroidal system. Now we have been seen that ring systems can be seen. Now these are fused. There are a variety of functional group that may be attached. Definitely there will be other functional group that may be attached to this steroidal systems, and then they can be categorized under various classification of steroidal system. The main feature, as in all lipids, is the large number of carbon hydrogens which make steroids nonpolar. Definitely, when we look at the lipid structure also, we can say that there was a polar system and a non-polar system. Some of them had got a polar head and a non-polar long chain system. In steroidal system, since these also have a large number of carbon and hydrogen, now these systems are also said to be non-polar system. That means easily they cannot be dissolved in water, rather they would be easily dissolved in a organic solvents. Let us know what can be given as an introduction to this. Steroids include such well-known compounds such as cholesterol, sex hormones, birth control pills, cortisone and anabolic steroids. Now when I say that steroids will have various types of compounds, but the basic skeleton structure will remain this only. That means they will always have a basic skeleton structure of this four membered ring system, where three are cyclohexane system and one is a cyclopentane system. Some of the categories can be cholesterol system, sex hormones, birth control pills, cortisone, anabolic steroids. One best example under the steroidal system is cholesterol. Now, cholesterol, we can observe that it is a category in which it is forming under a steroidal system, but it is also having some functional group along with this ring system. No. The best known and most abundant steroid in the body is cholesterol. Definitely, cholesterol is observed in various body parts and it is synthesized in the body. Cholesterol is formed in brain tissue, nerve tissue, and bloodstream. Definitely, we know this from our biology classes that cholesterol is formed in brain tissue, nerve tissue, and the bloodstream. It is a major compound found in gallstones and bile salts. When we look at the gallstones and bile salts, most of the component is a cholesterol system only. This also contributes to the formation of deposits on the inner walls of blood cells. Now, this is how we can see that when the cholesterol is being deposited, we can observe that the inner walls of the blood vessels become smaller and smaller, and this may lead to obstruction of the blood flow. If there is an obstruction to the blood flow, then we can see that there may be an cardiac arrest. This is also a condition known as atherosclerosis, and it results in various heart diseases, strokes, and high BP. Now, cholesterol, when it is getting deposited in the systems of the blood vessels, we can observe that there may be various complications. One of the complication can be heart diseases. Now, much of the research is currently underway to determine if there is a correlation existing between cholesterol levels in the body, in the blood, and diet. That means how much cholesterol has been intaken through a diet is under a lot of research. That is, of course, cholesterol gets synthesized in the body, and there might be chances that cholesterol is being taken as an intake. Definitely, in lot of food products, we can observe that there is a presence of cholesterol. And if there is a food intake, and if there is any correlation between the one that has been synthesized in the body and the diet, and how it can be controlled, is the major concern of research these days. Not only does cholesterol come from the diet, but cholesterol is also synthesized in the body. This we have already seen. But where does it come from? It comes from carbohydrates and proteins, as well as fat. Whatever carbohydrates that we consume, and proteins and the fat, cholesterol could be synthesized by that in the body. That means these carbohydrates and proteins can come from the diet. Therefore, elimination of cholesterol from rich foods from the diet does not necessarily lower the blood cholesterol levels. So, if we stop taking up the intake of carbohydrates, proteins, and fat, does not mean that cholesterol can be completely avoided, because it itself gets synthesized in the body. Some studies have found that if certain unsaturated fats and oils are substituted for saturated fats. Now, we have seen what are saturated fats and unsaturated fats when we were doing lipid study. That is, if there is a presence of C double bond C, then we call them as unsaturated fats, and the long chain C single bond C present, they are said to be saturated fats. If we observe that unsaturated fats could be substituted by saturated fats, the blood cholesterol level decreases. Now, this is of a major concern. That is, if a blood cholesterol has to be decreased, then most of the time it is observed that saturated fats should be consumed. Now, definitely the research is incomplete on this problem, because there are a lot of by studies which are going on to understand how the cholesterol mechanism works in the body. Now, let us understand what is the structure of cholesterol. Cholesterol is nothing but it is having a 27 carbon system. Now, when I say a 27 carbon system, we can see that there are 27 carbons along with the functional groups like OH system. There may be systems like, when we observe that there is a system like OH system, there is a presence of long chain systems like this. And the major thing that we can observe is there are ring system like in steroidal system. Now, we can see that there are 3 cyclohexane systems, and one there is a cyclopentane system along with the long chain. Now, we can observe that there is a double bond. So, along with all the functional groups, we can see that there is a structure of this cholesterol containing of 27 carbon system, 27 carbon system. Now, this is a extracrystallographic structure of cholesterol system showing all the functional group. The yellow component here, it speaks about a C double bond C. Now, we can observe that in this whole procedure, or in this whole ring like structure, the skeleton system is a steroidal system like containing that of 17 carbon atoms. Now, when I observe 17 carbon atoms, I can see 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17. Now, this is a skeletal structure called as cyclopentanoprotein. perhydrophenanthrene system. All the steroids will contain this ring system or a steroidal skeletal system. Be it any kind of steroidal systems, the skeletal system would always be composed of this 17 carbon system along with all the other long chain and the functional group. Now, this is a general structure of cholesterol that we could understand. Now, steroids are also part of certain sex hormones. Now, sex hormones are also steroids. Now, the primary male hormone testosterone is responsible for the development of secondary sex characteristics. Now, definitely for the secondary sex characteristics, testosterone is responsible. Two female sex hormones, progesterone and estrogen or estradiol, control the ovulation cycle. Now, these are also steroidal type of system. We can notice that male and female hormones have only slight differences in structure, but yet they have different physiological effects. They are similar in the structure, but their physiological effects, they always differ. Now, coming to a testosterone. Now, testosterone, it promotes the normal development of male genital organs, and it is synthesized from cholesterol in the testes. So, cholesterol becomes again a starting material for the synthesis of this testosterone. It also promotes secondary male sexual characteristics such as deep voice, facial and body hair. Now, this is what is the function of this testosterone system. Estrogen along with progesterone regulates changes occurring in the uterus and ovaries known as the menstrual cycle. Now, when we look at estrogen, again the starting material can be a cholesterol system, and then along with progesterone and the other steroidal systems, we can observe that they help in the changes of the uterus and ovaries, which again turn into a menstrual cycle. Estrogen is synthesized from testosterone. We can observe that testosterone has been synthesized from cholesterol, and indirectly cholesterol is responsible for the synthesis of estrogen. Estrogen gets synthesized from testosterone by making the first ring aromatic, which results in mole double bond, the loss of a methyl group and formation of an alcoholic group. Now, we can observe here in terms of the structure. Let us observe, progesterone is a female hormone. Now, can we not observe here that there is a presence of a carbonyl carbon, there is a presence of a C double bond C. The major structure is again a ring structure containing 3 cyclohexane system and 1 cyclopentane system. There are long chain system containing various other functional groups along with the carbonyl carbon. Testosterone is again similar to that. Now, when I compare testosterone and progesterone, I can observe that progesterone has got a carbonyl carbon and there is an OH group in testosterone. Now, we can see that one methyl group is less in testosterone, and in the long chain system, we can observe instead of a carbonyl carbon, there is a presence of an OH system. Rest all structure is same. So, testosterone and progesterone are similar. One is containing a OH group, the other one is containing a carbonyl carbon. In terms of estrogen system, we can observe that ring A. Now, when I say this ring A, it is aromatized system containing an OH group. Comparing this with progesterone and testosterone, I can observe that there was a carbonyl carbon group in progesterone and testosterone, whereas in estrogen there is a presence of an OH. Whereas testosterone and estrogen are similar, but there is one less methyl group in the ring A. Comparing that to that of the testosterone, we can observe that there is a methyl group over here. Here there is no methyl group. So, in this way, when I compare these sex hormones, they are similar to one another with certain changes in their major skeletal system. But once again, their major skeletal system will have this 17 carbon system of the steroidal system called as cyclopentanoperhydrophenanthrene. Now, when this category has been discussed, the next category is called as adrenocorticoid hormones. The adrenocorticoid hormones are the products of adrenal glands. Adrenal means adjacent to renal or the kidney. Now, the most important mineralocorticoid is aldosterone. This regulates the reabsorption of sodium and chloride ions in the kidney tubules and increases the loss of potassium ions. Aldosterone is very important hormone which is having a regulatory system on terms of kidney, because adrenal itself means near to the kidney. Aldosterone is secreted when blood sodium levels are too low to cause the kidney to retain sodium ions. Retention of sodium ions is very important in the body, because there should be a proper urinary cycle and there should be proper retention of the urinary cycle. That is how aldosterone becomes very important. Once it is observed that there is a lesser amount of sodium ions in the body, aldosterone gets synthesized, and in turn it is going to regulate the retention of sodium in the body. But if the sodium levels are elevated, aldosterone is not secreted, so that some of the sodium will be lost in the urine. Aldosterone also controls swelling in the tissue. Mostly swelling in the tissue is because of the excess amount of brine or sodium chloride or sodium ions in the body. Aldosterone, it controls the swelling in the tissue. The next hormone is cortisol. It is the most important glucocorticoid. Now, aldosterone was a mineralocorticoid. Now, cortisol is called as glucocorticoid. This has the function of increasing glucose and glycogen concentration in the body. Definitely, glucose and glycogen in the body is very important because of the lots of functionalities in the body. So, cortisol is very important in terms of increasing the glucose and glycogen concentration in the body. These reactions are completed in the liver by taking fatty acids from lipid storage cells. Now, where does this gets completed is in the fatty acid. Taking up fatty acids in the liver, the lipid storage cells, they would synthesize and they would synthesize this cortisol, and then amino acids from the body proteins to make glucose and glycogen. How do we synthesize glucose and glycogen is from the fatty acids or amino acids. Cortisol is a hormone which is going to facilitate this. In addition to cortisol and its ketone derivatives, cortisone. Cortisol is OH derivative and cortisone is a carbonyl carbon derivative. It is having the ability to inflammatory effects. Cortisone or similar synthetic derivatives such as prednisolone are used to treat inflammatory diseases. Now, these are said to control the inflammation, rheumatoid arthritis, and bronchial asthma. Now, these cortisone system, they are known to control inflammatory diseases, rheumatoid arthritis, and bronchial asthma. There are many side effects with the use of cortisone drugs, so they must have to be monitored and used properly. Now, these are also part of the steroidal system. Now, let us look at the structure. Cortisol is again having this 17 carbon structure. We can observe that for all the structures there is a 17 carbon structure containing 3 6-membered rings and 1 5-membered ring called as cyclopentanoperhydrophenanthrin. Cortisol has got an OH group, and there it is called as in a secondary alcoholic system, and there is also a CH2OH along with the carbonyl carbon present in the long chain system. Cortisone, we can observe that instead of this OH group that is present here, there is a carbonyl carbon present. Rest all of the structure is similar structure. Aldosterone, when I observe, there is an aldehyde group and a carbonyl carbon along with an OH group present. But most of these systems, when we can observe, they are similar in the structures, because like steroidal structure, they have got 4-ring system in which 3 are 6-membered ring and 1 is a 5-membered ring structure. With this, we can understand steroids are a part of lipid structure, but steroids are not actually lipids, because steroids have got a fused 17 carbon system as their skeletal system. Now, this skeletal system of the 17 carbon system, it is called as a system called as cyclopentano perhydrophenanthrin structure. Now, this becomes the major skeletal system of the steroidal system. So, this is a part of the introduction for a steroidal system. Based on this, we could understand that Steroids are a part of lipids. Secondly, steroids contain cholesterol system. They also contain a part of sex hormones. Steroids are also part of adrenocorticoid hormones and various functionalities of these steroidal systems we have observed. Thank you.